It happens after certain visits, and only certain ones. You come home, you close the door, and you sit down heavier than you should. The visit was fine, nothing bad happened, nobody fought, the coffee was drunk, and the words were pleasant, and you are exhausted. Not sleepy, hear the difference, emptied. Like something was taken out of you somewhere between hello and goodbye, and you cannot point to the moment it happened. And then there is the other kind of visit, with different people, and it can last twice as long, and you come home from that one lighter than you left, full, younger almost for the rest of the evening, same you, same coffee, same amount of talking. Different people, and completely opposite results, and you have noticed this pattern your whole life, and never once been given an explanation for it. The modern world has no explanation, so it hands you doubt instead. Maybe you were just tired. Maybe you are getting older. Maybe you are less social than you used to be. Tonight I am going to give you the old explanation, the one my people never doubted for a moment, because they organized their whole camps around it. What you feel after being with a person is real. It is not your imagination, it is not your age, and it is not rudeness to notice it. Every meeting between two human beings is an exchange. My grandmother taught me this before I was 10 years old, every single one. And in that exchange, something is either given to you or taken from you. And the tiredness you feel after certain people is not a mystery and not a mood. It is a receipt. Tonight I will teach you to read your receipts, to understand exactly who is taking and how they do it, why they choose you specifically, and what the old ones did about it, which was never to become cold. Hear me, the answer was never coldness, but it was never surrender either. By the end you will understand 50 years of your own exhaustion, and you will know what to do after the very next visit that empties you. Let me give you the old understanding first, the way it was given to me. My grandmother explained people with the fire as she explained most things. She said, "Grandson, every person is a fire. You know this, I have told you. But hear the next part. When two fires meet, warmth moves between them, always. It cannot not move. That is the nature of fire. And most meetings are good trade. Two strong fires share warmth back and forth, stories given for stories, listening for listening, care for care, and both burn brighter afterward than before. You have felt this. It is why the right friend leaves you full. But some fires, she said, have stopped making their own warmth. Something in them went out, or was never lit, or they never learned to gather their own wood. And hear me, grandson, a fire that makes no warmth of its own does not simply sit cold. It draws. It pulls warmth from whatever burns near it. It cannot help it. That is also the nature of fire. And the person standing close to a drawing fire will feel their own heat leaving them and see nothing, because warmth is invisible while it moves. Only afterward, when they are cold and cannot say why, do they know something happened. That is your certain people, my friend. That is your heavy visits. You have been standing next to drawing fires, some of them for decades, and coming home cold and blaming your own wood. And the reason nobody in the modern world will tell you this is that the modern world only believes in what it can put on a scale, and warmth between people cannot be weighed. But you were never weighing it anyway. You were feeling it, accurately, your whole life. The tiredness was true. Hear this once and never doubt it again. The tiredness was information. You are not weak, and you were never imagining it. You have simply been generous, at close range, with people who arrive cold and leave warm, at your expense, every single time. And so you know this is not theory. Let me tell you how my grandmother used the teaching, because she ran her whole household by it. She received many visitors in her long life. Her fire was famous. People came from far settlements to sit at her table. And I noticed, as a watching boy, that she did not treat all visitors the same, and it puzzled me, because she was the most generous woman alive. Some visitors could stay till midnight, and she bloomed the whole time. Others, and they were received kindly, hear me, always kindly, found the visit somehow completing itself within the hour, the tea finished, the warm goodbye at the door, and I could never see how she did it. The hour just ended, gracefully, every time, with certain people. And one evening after such a visitor left, I asked her, "Why do some people get the whole evening and some people get 1 hour?" And she was quiet a moment, and then she said, "Grandson, come here." And she put my hand near the fire. "Feel that," she said. "That warmth is not endless. It feels endless on a good night, but it is wood, and wood is finite, and every person who sits here is warmed by it, which is right. That is what a fire is for. But a keeper who lets every visitor draw without measure will have a cold house by winter." And then she looked at me with the look that planted teachings, and she said, "I decide who gets my evenings by one measure only. When they leave, is my fire bigger or smaller? The ones who make it bigger get the midnight. The ones who make it smaller get 1 good hour given gladly, and not a minute more. And nobody is turned from my door, grandson, hear that part too, but nobody empties my house either. That is not coldness. That is keeping the fire that keeps everyone. 60 years later, I run my own door by her measure, and tonight I am handing it to you. Before I share the next teaching, I need to tell you something. I am not going to be here forever. And most of what I know was never written anywhere, so I sat down and I wrote it. All of it. 20 teachings, 4 parts, in the order they were meant to be received. The ones about the fires and the exchanges. The ones about staying warm and generous in a world of drawing fires. The ones I have never said on camera. It is called the native way, and it costs less than 1 dinner you will not remember. Scan the code on your screen or look in the comments, but do not leave yet, because now I am going to show you the 4 ways the drawing is actually done, and as I describe them, faces are going to appear in your mind, and this time you will finally understand what those faces have been doing. So how is the warmth actually taken? 4 ways, and you know all 4. You have just never seen them named. The first way is the mouth that never rests and the ear that never opens. You know this visitor. They arrive and they begin and they do not stop. Their troubles, their stories, their opinions, their grievances, an unbroken river of themselves, for 1 hour, for 3, and your role assigned without your consent is the ear. You nod, you receive, you murmur the right sounds, and here is what nobody understands about listening. Hear it tonight. Listening is labor. Real listening, the kind you give, is one of the most expensive things a human being can do. It is attention, care, and self-restraint, burning all at once. And a person who takes 3 hours of it and returns none, who never once asks how you are or asks and drives past your answer to get back to themselves, has not visited you. They have harvested you. Count the questions next time. That is the old test. Count how many questions about your life cross their lips in an entire visit. With the drawing ones, the number is almost always 0, and a 0-question visit, my friend, is not a conversation. It is a withdrawal, and you are the account. The second way is chaos, carried like a coat. Some people bring weather with them. I have taught you about storms, but hear the close-range version. Every visit is an emergency. Every arrival comes wrapped in the latest crisis, the newest feud, the fresh disaster, and their turmoil pours into your kitchen and your chest, and your calm, which you have built so carefully, is spent absorbing their storm, hour after hour, and they leave lighter. Hear this. They leave lighter because storms are heavy, and they have handed you theirs, and you carry it for 3 days while they go gather the next one. The third way is the small blade, the visitor whose talk is seasoned always with little cuts. The criticisms dressed as concern, the backhanded compliments, the subjects they know are sore and find anyway, and being with them is not conversation, it is defense. Hours of quiet defense, shields up the entire visit. And holding a shield, ask any old soldier, drains a body faster than swinging a sword. And the fourth way is the bottomless need. The one whose troubles you have carried for 20 years, the same troubles, hear that, the same ones, because your carrying never fixes them, it was never meant to fix them. The trouble is the rope that keeps you close and hauling, and every visit you haul again, advice given and never taken, comfort poured into a vessel that has agreed with itself never to fill. 4 ways: the harvest, the storm, the blade, and the bottomless bucket. Now you know what the faces in your mind have been doing all these years. They were never bad visits, my friend. They were expensive ones. Now, why you? Because you have noticed, surely, that not everyone gets drained the way you do. Some people seem to move through the same relatives and the same rooms untouched, and you have wondered if that proves the weakness is yours. Hear the truth, and it is the opposite of weakness. The drawing fires do not gather around the cold. They gather around the warm. A taker cannot take from a shut person. There is no open door to reach through, so they find the open ones, the listeners, the feelers, the ones who cannot watch someone struggle without offering their own warmth. The ones this whole channel is full of hear me. I know exactly who I am talking to. You get drained more than the people around you because you are carrying more warmth than the people around you, and you keep your doors open, and that combination, the full woodpile and the open door, is precisely what the cold ones can feel from across a room, the way anyone can feel a fire from across a field in winter. Your draining is not evidence of your weakness. It is evidence of your warmth, and of a door that has never learned to close. So do not let tonight make you wish you were colder. That is the wrong lesson, and I forbid it. The fire is your glory. The old ones would say you have the gift of the big fire, the kind a whole camp can warm itself at, and the big fires were treasured. But the big fires were also tended, hear that word, tended, guarded, managed by people who understood what they were keeping, and that is the difference between you and the elders of the old way. Not the size of the fire, the tending of it. And the tending is what I teach you now. So here is the old tending, 4 practices, and none of them require you to become cold. First, read your receipts and believe them. From tonight, after every visit, every call, every gathering, ask the one question, quietly, honestly, am I warmer or colder than before? That is the whole instrument. Your own chest, 1 hour after, and it never lies. Stop overruling it. Stop explaining it away. The people who leave you consistently cold have shown you, in the only language that cannot deceive, what the exchange with them is, and you are allowed to believe your own thermometer over their smiles. Second, dose the drawing fires. Hear me carefully because I did not say banish. Some of the drawing ones are family, some you love, some you are bound to by blood and history and duty, and the old way did not demand amputation. It taught dosage. The visit that drains you across 3 hours may cost you almost nothing across 1, so set the hour kindly in advance. I can come Tuesday from 2 to 3 and leave at 3, warmly, every time, and let the container do the guarding so your heart does not have to. And for the ones on the telephone, the same. 10 warm minutes given freely beat 90 resentful ones, and here is the secret the tenders knew. The drawing ones rarely notice the dose shrinking. They only need some warmth. It does not have to be all of yours, and I watched a woman save a family relationship with dosage alone. So hear the proof. She had a sister-in-law, a storm carrier of the first order, 40 years of 3-hour visits that left her flattened for days. And she had reached the point where the modern advice waits, cut her off, be done. Instead, she tried the old way. She began meeting the sister-in-law for breakfast, out at a diner 1 hour before an 11 o'clock appointment she invented and kept inventing. And a strange arithmetic revealed itself within a season. The 1 hour version of that sister-in-law was almost enjoyable. The first hour had always been the tolerable hour, the stories, the laughter even. The storm only rolled in across hours 2 and 3 when the weather ran out of sky. Cut to 1 hour, she got the best of her sister-in-law and went home before the drawing began, still warm, still fond, and the sister-in-law, who never once noticed the architecture, told people that year that the two of them had never been closer. Hear that ending? Never been closer, said the storm, about the woman who had quietly built a roof. Nobody was cut off, nobody was confronted. 40 years of flattening ended with a diner table and an invented appointment, and both fires survived. That is dosage. It is not distance dressed up. It is the engineering of love that intends to last. Third, stop hauling for the bottomless. For the 20-year troubles, the ones you're carrying has never once moved. Practice the shore. I have taught it before, and it belongs here doubled. Love them, hear them, and set down the rope. You can say, in your own words, I love you and I trust you to carry this one, and watch, some of them, when the hauling stops, finally grow the muscles they never needed while you were pulling. And fourth, after every expensive visit, refill on purpose, the same day. Do not just sit cold in the chair until bedtime. That is letting the withdrawal stand. Go to your wells the very same evening, the walk, the music, the call to the friend who is good trade, the porch, the quiet, and put back deliberately what was drawn, because a tended fire is not one that never gets drawn from. That fire does not exist in a world with people in it. A tended fire is one whose keeper refills it faster than the world can draw it down. That is the whole art, my friend. That is what the big fires of the old way did for 80 years at the center of whole camps. Warm to everyone, emptied by no one, and it was never their nature that protected them. It was their tending. So there it is, the answer to 50 years of heavy homecomings. The exchange is real, and your tiredness was a receipt, and the faces you thought of tonight have been drawing from a fire they never once helped feed. And now hear the last thing, because it is the most important. Somewhere in your circle or waiting just beyond it are the other kind, the good trade fires, the people you leave feeling fuller. And if tonight taught you to read the cold receipts, let it also teach you to read the warm ones. Notice who leaves you brighter, notice it deliberately, name them to yourself, and then do what a wise keeper does with proven trade. Go back more often. Give those ones your best hours, your open door, your deepest warmth, because warmth given to a giving fire does not deplete you, it multiplies. Both of you leave richer. That is the economy the Creator actually designed. 2 fires trading until the whole night around them is warm. You were never meant to be harvested, my friend. You were meant for that, for the good trade, for the long evenings that fill both cups. So tend the fire, dose the drawing ones, refill the same day, and spend what you save on the ones who trade fair. The wood you have left is precious. From tonight you know exactly where it should burn. If what you heard today stayed with you, the book is there. The Native Way, 20 teachings, 100 pages, written the way I would speak to you if we were sitting together. Scan the QR code on the screen with your phone or find the link in the comments. Read 1 chapter. Sit with it. Now I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments. Who came to mind tonight? No names needed. Just tell me which of the 4 it was, the harvest, the storm, the blade, or the bottomless bucket. I read every comment. And if this is the kind of conversation you have been looking for, subscribe to this channel. We are not collecting viewers here. We are collecting people who remember. Come back next week. I am not done teaching yet.